Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to Threes In. Bobo's here. So, 1970, I found myself at Randolph Air Force Base going through pilot training. One of the best years of my life. This one particular Saturday, with nothing really going on, I said to my wife, I'd like to go out looking for a wooden prop. She said, okay. She said, you think you need one? I said, absolutely. I don't know what I was going to use it for, but I felt like I needed one. So, got the yellow pages out and started looking for wooden props, and it didn't take long before they steered me toward this, what some people might call it a junkyard. I called it a treasure yard. So we got in the car and started driving south. It was in Pleasanton, Texas, just south of San Antonio. So we get out there and drove up to this place, and man, my eyes just lit up. There was all kinds of neat stuff I needed. Okay, so we drive in and met the owner, and he was a man, I would say at the time he was north of 80. And he was just a very, very pleasant man. So we got to talking, and he showed me a collection of wooden props, and we talked a little bit more, and I asked him what his background was, and he said, well, at one time, he said, I'd been a mechanic in World War I. Really? That fascinated me. So we chatted about that a little bit, and I knew a little bit about World War I aircraft, not a lot, but a little bit. And he told me, he said, he said, we could always tell what kind of missions the pilots were going on by what they had for breakfast. And I said, all right. He said, if they had bacon and eggs, they were going on bombing missions. And if they had porridge, they were going on strafing missions. And I said, okay. Still didn't see the tie-in. And he said, we cooked bacon and eggs on the griddles. And he said, if they were going on strafing missions, they would sit on those hot plates, on those plates of iron, the griddle plates, because of ground fire coming up underneath the aircraft. He said, so that on those days they'd have porridge or oatmeal. He said if they were going on bombing missions, he said they were up a lot higher. They were out of ground fire, so they would have bacon and eggs. Who knew? Anyway, I just found that fascinating. Then he said, another thing, he said, when those guys came in and landed after a mission, he said, you didn't want to get between them and the outhouse. And I kind of knew this one. I'd heard this when I was a kid, but I played along with him. I just enjoyed hearing him tell the story. So I said, so why is that? He says, do you know what we lubricated the engines with? And I said, oh yeah, castor oil. Well, there you go. Castor oil is a natural laxative. At any rate, that's the extent of my knowledge of World War I flying stories. But still fascinating just the same. I'm so glad you stopped in. And until next time, this is Bobo, Base Gear Stop.